Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to get back into it with another deep dive.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so today we are talking about something that I know is on a lot of people's minds, and that is Social Security. Specifically, some changes coming in 2025 that everyone needs to be aware of.
You're right. This is important stuff. And understanding how these changes might impact you now is super important for planning your financial future.
Right, we don't want any surprises down the road. So, to kick things off, we've been digging into some insights from Bankrate, and one of the first things that jumped out was that CLA, the cost of living adjustment, is going up in 2025.
It is, yeah. But you might not be as excited once we break down the numbers. We're only looking at about a 2.5% boost to those checks.
Okay. So how much are we actually talking here?
So for the average retired worker, that 2.5% increase translates to roughly an extra $50 a month.
50 bucks. Well, I guess every little bit helps, but it doesn't sound like a game changer or anything.
That's the thing about CLA, it all comes down to inflation. That 2.5% is tied to how much the cost of goods and services is increasing, measured by something called the CPIW. So, yeah, you're getting a little more each month, but will it feel like more if your grocery bill has gone up by, say, 10%? Probably not.
Right, right. That makes sense. So that's COLA in a nutshell, but I'm curious, what about people who are still working? How do these Social Security changes affect them? What if they're making a good chunk of change?
Well, that's a really good question because the maximum taxable earnings are going up in 2025 as well. We're talking about a cap of $176,100.
Me,
I mean, if you're a high earner, bringing in more than that $176,100, you're going to be paying more into Social Security in 2025 than you did this year.
okay, so more money going in. Does that mean higher earners get a bigger piece of the pie when they eventually retire?
It does. The maximum benefit you can receive is also increasing to $4,018 per month in 2025. But keep in mind, that's for those retiring at full retirement age.
Got it. So there's a ceiling, both on how much you pay in and how much you can get back out.
Exactly. And that really gets at the heart of how Social Security is designed. It's kind of a safety net, right?
Like a safety net, what do you mean?
Well, it's structured to provide a higher percentage of income replacement for lower earners, ensuring everyone has at least a basic level of income in retirement. Those who earn less during their working years generally get a larger percentage of their income replaced by Social Security benefits compared to higher earners.
Interesting. It's like a built-in equalizer in a way. But hold on a second. We keep talking about retirement, but Social Security isn't just about retirement, is it? I mean, there are benefits for spouses, people with disabilities.
Absolutely. And those benefits are seeing increases in 2025 as well. A widowed mother with two children, for example, would see her benefits rise to an average of $3,761 per month.
Wow. It's easy to forget that Social Security provides a crucial safety net for a lot of different situations, not just retirement.
It really does. And these changes, while they might seem kind of minor at first glance, they really highlight how important it is for everyone to understand the full scope of benefits Social Security offers.
It's a good reminder that Social Security can be pretty complex. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
That's for sure. And it actually reminds me of another aspect of these changes that we need to talk about. It's something that anyone thinking about early retirement needs to understand.
Oh, yeah, early retirement. Who hasn't dreamt of that? But I'm guessing you're about to tell me it's not as simple as just saying, see you later to the 9 to 5 guy.
You got it. It's not that simple. There's this thing called the earnings test that can really impact how much of your benefit you actually get if you're working and start taking Social Security before your full retirement age.
Okay, so let's say I'm 62, still love what I do, but I'm ready to scale back to something part-time, enjoy life a little. How would this earnings test thing apply to me?
Well, in 2025, if you're under full retirement age and you start collecting Social Security, you can earn up to $1,950 per month.
Each month. Each month, yeah, without it affecting your benefits at all. That's $23,400 for the entire year. But if you make more than that, which is totally possible, my side hustle could take off. Right, exactly. So for every $2 you earn over that limit, $1 is going to be withheld from your Social Security benefits. So it's kind of a balancing act. You're weighing the pros and cons of working more, earning extra income against potentially getting a smaller benefit check. Exactly. Okay, so there's this earnings limit. But what about the year I actually hit my full retirement age? Do those limits just like disappear?
They do eventually, but not right away. In the year you reach your full retirement age, there's actually a different higher earnings threshold that applies. In 2025, you'd be looking at $5,180 per month, which works out to $62,160 for the year. Any earnings above that, then they start withholding benefits.
Okay, so you get a little more wiggle room that year, Makes sense.
Yeah.
But what's the reduction rate in that scenario? Is it still $1 withheld for every $2 earned over the limit?
It's a little different. For every $3 you earn over that higher limit, that $62,160, they withhold $1 from your benefits.
Oh, so it's a bit more gradual.
It is. It gives you a little more flexibility as you transition into full retirement.
I'm really starting to see how important planning is here. I always knew the basics about Social Security, but there are so many little nuances and details that can have a big impact on your overall financial plan.
You're hitting on a really important point. You know, it's not enough to just know the rules. You really got to understand how they fit into your own personal situation, your goals, your timeline, all of that.
Totally. And I have to admit, before we started digging into this, I kind of had this idea in my head that Social Security was just like, oh, you hit a certain age, you get a check. End of story.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have had that misconception, but as you can see, it's way more nuanced than that.
So for anyone listening who's maybe feeling a little overwhelmed by all this info about COLA and earnings tests and all these changes coming in 2025, what would you say is the biggest takeaway? What's the one thing they should remember?
You know, I think the key thing to keep in mind is that Social Security, it's not static. It's not like you just set it and forget it.
Mm,
You really have to stay informed about the changes because even small adjustments can make a big difference down the road, especially when you're talking about something as important as your retirement.
right. Like a small leak can sink a ship if you don't deal with it kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the good news is there are a lot of resources out there to help you navigate this. The Social Security Administration website has a ton of info articles, like this one from Bankrate can be super helpful. And of course, if you really want personalized guidance, reaching out to a financial advisor is always a smart move.
It's always good to have an expert in your corner. All right.
Yeah.
Well, expert speaker, this has been incredibly eye-opening. Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us into the ins and outs of Social Security.
Anytime. Glad we could shed some light on this stuff and hopefully empower people to make more informed decisions about their future.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, as we wrap things up here, one final thought to ponder. I've spent a lot of time talking about the specifics of these upcoming changes, but it also makes you wonder, what do these adjustments tell us about the bigger picture? What does it say about the long-term outlook for Social Security itself? Definitely something to think about as you plan your own retirement journey. That's all the time we have for today, but thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.